Hey, welcome back everybody. This is State Campion, or you could just call me State. Today we are going a little bit on story time today. Yeah, I am going to talk to you guys about the games I used to play growing up, and it should be a fun episode, should be fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys can tell me in the comments down below your stories and your favorite games growing up if you have any, and stuff like that. So right off the bat, I want to talk about or tell you guys that I absolutely adore old games because that's where I grew up, is playing these older games. Nintendo 64 is about the farthest I'm going back. I did play some of the Super Nintendo and some um, regular Nintendo stuff uh, and other things, but as far back I want to go to is Nintendo 64 because that was my first console. That was my first getting into games and having real fun. Like I played uh, Super Nintendo and stuff like that, but Nintendo 64 is where it really started off. And as new I'm getting to is probably original Xbox. That is about as new as I want to get to, and as old as I want to get to is Nintendo 64. Um, really great games. Now, you know, um, now don't get me wrong. New games are fun. They are fun. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're easy. I'm not saying anything bad or negative about newer games. I just believe that older games, they're just better in my opinion. Okay, I had a lot more fun with older games than newer games, and that's why even today I play more older games than I do newer games. Like one of my buddies kind of gives me a little smack about, oh, dude, you're not playing all these newer games or whatever. Oh, you're going back and playing older games and stuff. Like to me, I love old games. I love the older games, and he's always playing these newer games. I love newer games too. They're fun. Okay, and obviously I'm playing Ark Survival Evolved. How newer can you get? It's not even out yet. That's how new it is. That's how cool this game is. But back in the day, with really bad graphics and stuff like that, um, and I say back in the day because like Nintendo 64 was back in the day. Okay, I'm not saying that to be older. I'm just saying that Nintendo 64 was back in the day. Now I don't play Nintendo 64 a lot, but out of the newer generation of games, I play a lot more older games than a lot more newer games. That's just how it is. That's how I am. Okay. Now, one of the games I want to tell you guys about is, or one of the games I used to play was Battle Tanks. Battle Tanks. If you're not familiar with Battle Tanks, it was or actually I just learned about the history not too long ago. I guess it was a game where I guess females took over the world and something like that or whatever. But this game was fun. Me, my brother, my sisters, my mom, my dad, we all played this game. Nintendo 64 was the time where the whole family actually played games together. We don't do so much now because people are, moved on and gone their own ways, families and stuff. Um, but we all played this game. We all had fun, and actually, I learned the difference between, uh, um, I believe, defeat and victory. I learned uh, the difference between defeat and victory. I remember playing this game and playing multiplayer with my brother and stuff. My brother and my sisters. Um, playing this game with them and friends, and we still play this game today. Sometimes, not always. We don't always play old games, but we do go back and play some of the older games. But I remember playing this game, and my brother would get defeat on his screen, and I was like, "No, you defeated everyone." I thought it meant like you defeated everyone, you won. And so the longest time, we were like, "Oh man, how is he so good playing this game? He's always getting the defeat screen or whatever." And then my dad walked by and I was like, Dad, what does this mean? He's like, defeat. He's like, that means he lost. I was like, oh, you've been losing this whole entire time. Oh, man. And we didn't even realize, but we had the setting on teams, and he was on the opposite team, and so it's 3v1. And oh man, that was pretty funny learning that. And also another game that I'll get to later on is Bad Fur Day, learning out that multiplayer, because all the other games before always said versus, like you always, like multiplayer was versus, and then multiplayer in this game was the first time I've seen the word multiplayer, and it was like doesn't have multiplayer, it doesn't have versus, so I guess I can't play with you guys or whatever, you know. Learning multiplayer was like, what? Is that is that how we play, you know, with each other and stuff? So that was pretty fun with that. But battle tanks, if you don't know battle tanks, there's numbers of different amount of tanks out there. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I don't mean to burp on camera or burp while playing games. It just happens when I talk. But battle tanks, there's different amount of tanks in the game. There was this little guy that was just the quickest little guy, died really quickly, but he got the job done a lot of the times. Then there was a minigun guy with wheels, or he had tracks, but he had a minigun. He was a little bit weak. There was a flamethrower guy, which is probably one of the weakest tanks in the game. Then there was a guy that we called, I don't know actually what the names of these tanks are, if they even had names of the tanks, but we called them Roly Poly Oly, is because left or right on the arrow pads on the C buttons, Nintendo 64, not familiar with the controller, it had yellow buttons, arrows for the C stick that later came in the later games. But they had arrows, and left or right made him roll that direction, and it was really cool because you can just dodge and circle around the guy you're trying to kill by just going left or right, and he would just roll, and you can fire like that, and it was really cool. Then there was a tank that had double barrels, okay, boom, 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 boom. Then there was a tank that shot like a pickup style. There's pickups all over the map that you can pick up, and one of his main whatever you want to call it, he fired one of the pickups as his main weapon, and that was really cool. There was a really big tank. I'm not going to go through all the tanks and stuff, but there was a really big tank that was just massive. He was the strongest tank in the game. He just fired a big bullet, a big tank round or whatever you want to call it, and he just destroyed everything. Okay, he was the base covered guy. He was the guy that you saw on tracks a lot of the times there, and he would just go left from right and just back and forth, and if anyone would go into your base, boom, 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 and he would take care of them. Or also, and we found out that that guy, you can get off the tracks and you can drive around as that guy, but then your base would be open for attacks. That was really cool. That multiplayer was really fun. We played a lot of team deathmatch style games, and capture the flag. Actually, back in this game, it was capture the head, because I didn't understand it, but you just like drove over the head, and well, it was just like a picture of a head. It wasn't really a head, but it was a picture of the head. You drove through the head, you picked it up, and you drove it back to your base. There was a lot of that added into the story mode, which was really fun. But multiplayer had that, as well as like capture the flag and some other things that had that in the game, or in the game mode. Lot of great memories with this game. A lot of great fun. Another fun thing we had was there was this map, and we figured out how to survive it. But there was this map that had nukes on it, like, and we would just sit there and wait for the nukes to respawn, and so we would just pick up like 20 nukes. We each had 20 nukes, and the way to survive it was teleport yourself just before the blast. The blast would happen, okay, and then it would have like shockwave that would kill everything, and so just before that shockwave happened, you teleport. So we drove around on the map, picking up all the teleporters, and then we drove around in the one spot waiting for the nukes, and we had like each of them 20 nukes, and we just went boom, 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 pushed all the nukes, threw all the nukes out there, and waited for them all to go off, and then we tried to survive it, which I don't think we did. All 40 nukes, which was actually pretty cool. And the thing is we didn't destroy the game. Like a lot of times now, when you do something massive like that, you would freeze up in your game. Like if you were to play Minecraft and you would throw up like 400 TNT and you would try to blow it all up in one area, oh man, you would freeze your game or something. Something would happen. But back then, I was able to throw 40 nukes out and not have any game issues. And that was really fun doing that. And I don't think we actually played every map in that game. Like there was a bunch of different maps and areas that we can go to, and I don't think we actually played every map. I know I played story mode and I beat story mode with everyone in the house, minus I think mom, but played story mode and beat story mode with everyone in the house, which was fun. And I don't know how I did it, how I got my sisters to play the game, and how I got dad to play the game, and possibly mom to play the game. It was easy to get my brother to play the game because, he's also the gamer, and but my sisters and stuff, I don't know how I got them all to play the game, but I did, and we all got to play the game. That was really fun. Gotta take a breather here. Bad Fur Day. Now, Bad Fur Day, it was funny playing that game, or even buying that game. We bought it, and and it's funny that we don't even hear about this anymore, but the girl at the counter was like, hey, this game's rated M, 17 older. They're not going to be playing it, right? And that's what we don't hear now anymore is the game, or the people selling you the games, they don't go, hey, this game's 17 and older. We don't hear that anymore. But back then, heard it all the time if you played it, or if you try to buy a game that was 17 or older. Like if I walked in, and obviously I wasn't 17 at the time because I just wasn't, okay. I was probably 8, maybe 8, playing games like this, and I think the reason why my mom loved playing this game with me, or I remember my mom sitting down and playing this game with me, it was either to protect me, to say, hey, all this stuff isn't like what you're supposed to do in real life style protecting, or if she just had a fun time of playing the game. Like I would play this game, and we're talking about Bad Fur Day, and I would play this game, and if you don't know about Bad Fur Day or Conquer Live and Reloaded, one was for the came out on the Xbox, the original Xbox, and one came out for the Nintendo 64. And if you don't know about this game, and I guess they did do a rare bundle pack for the 360 and the Xbox One or something like that, where 30 games from Rare were in the pack, and this was one of them. If you haven't played this game, there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of Easter egg in games from other games and movies and stuff. There's just nasty stuff that happens in this game. There's, if you drink too much, okay, and this was like how you solved puzzles in story was you would get drunk, and then you would have to pee on certain things, and this game was so gross and so just messed up in certain ways. Like there was a lot of blood splatter, there was a lot of cursing, there's just things when you were young, you you may not want your kids to be like, in this game, you don't want them to play this game. There's a lot of nasty stuff that happened in this game. There is a part in the story mode where you make this bull drink a whole bunch of what was his drink? The drink that cranberry juice. He had to drink cranberry juice to make him go to the bathroom to do something and trigger something else in the game itself, or in the trigger something. He triggered something. So you just had to make him to go to the bathroom. You imagine what he had to do in the bathroom, and then you would do it. You did it like 4 times, and then finally he would do. I think he may have exploded, and that was the end of the bowl. But you could just imagine of how like nasty this game was. Speaking of going to the bathroom, there is a poo monster that he would throw his poo at you literally, and he sang a song that he was going to do it. But you get the picture of this game, how cruel and how nasty and how just disgusting this game was. But it was fun. It was really, really fun. Playing multiplayer, there is not a mission, but there is a map where you walk to the bathroom and you can drop your pants and pee everywhere and wound whoever ran into the pee. It was really bizarre of a game. And it still is, because I guess you could still play it. I don't know if they have multiplayer on the rare bundle pack version, but if there isn't, I recommend you at least figure it out and play it. The difference were the 360, or not the 360, but the original Xbox came out with a different edition where multiplayer was different. Not bad, but just different. And then the Nintendo 64 version has it's just different. Okay, and that's the one I played the most, was the Nintendo 64 version, and it was fun. It was really fun. I remember playing War for the first time by myself in the multiplayer settings, and I walked into this room, and it was not minigun. It was an Uzi, and there was 2 guns in there. There was an Uzi and a M16, or whatever you want to call it. And I walked in there and I hid, and the first thing that popped around the corner, first thing that came through, I just blew it up. I just and killed it. Just shot all my bullets, and I was like, yeah. It was so dark, I couldn't even see. Playing this game, playing War was team deathmatch, and you're either the bears or the squirrels. And I remember playing either side, didn't matter which side it was, but playing either side, they won. Like if you were to play like 5 games in a row, it would go back to back each time. I don't know why, and I don't know how. And sometimes it would change too. Sometimes like the bad guys or whatever would run into the to your side, to your base, with the revolver, the one-shot revolver, and they would just spray the laser everywhere, shooting. Obviously not shooting lasers, but shooting, and the gun had a laser, and so that was really terrifying. Like you would run through your base and you would just see a red or a green laser. If you were the bears, you saw a green laser. If you were the squirrels, you saw if a squirrel came in and he was the bad guy, you would see a green laser. If you were the opposite side or whatever, and the bear came in, you would see a red laser. And that was really terrifying, to run through your base and just see a laser, and they would be on target. I tell you, they were on target. You couldn't get away from those guys. Then playing the game later on, they ended up changing and somehow switching to like Uzis instead of lasers. which were less terrifying. The revolver versus the Uzi, that wasn't terrifying at all because they would stop shooting, giving you time to kill them. And then eventually they came into the base with sniper rifles instead of Uzis, or it actually was more like a sniper rifle slash shotgun, because you shot and it sounded, the reload sounded like a shotgun sound. So it kind of sounded like a shotgun, and it was whatever. Uh, but those were like the three guns that they came in with. You would either get the one shot revolver, the two shot, depends on where you shot him. If you had the sniper and you shot him in the face, that was one. If you shot him anywhere in the body, that was two. Or the Uzi, where they would fire. It was like ba 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 fire, and then they would let up, and then ba 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 ba, and then let up. I don't know if they let up because they knew the muzzle climb, like the muzzle climb in that gun. If you just went ba 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 and fired, you would like shoot the ceiling eventually. And like, I don't know if they did that because well, that's just how they were designed to do. But if I were to fire in front of them and just ba 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 and never let up, I would probably end up dying versus them just letting up, every so often. Like, they would fire a couple rounds, let up, fire a couple rounds, let up, and I would actually lose versus the keep on firing, and never letting up on them. And I would lose the battle versus them. But anyways, that was that game. That was really fun. I had a lot of great time playing that game. Another game I had fun playing was, let's see, I wrote down on a list, was, I want to talk about this one because I played it the most. Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Now, actually, I learned about the history not too long ago, but there's, I guess, like 4 or 5 Gauntlet Dark Legacies in a row or something. I'm not sure exactly the history on it. I learned it a while ago, but, and I haven't relearned it again. But Gauntlet Dark Legacy for the GameCube, Nintendo GameCube. Yeah, we played the GameCube. I know it wasn't the greatest console ever, but we played it and we had fun. I certainly did. But Gauntlet Dark Legacy was, or is, one of my favorite games of all time. It might not be the greatest. Now, remember, and I might do it like a top 10 if I could remember top 10 games of kind of this list. If I could go back and remember top 10 list, make a top 10 list of games that I played or whatever, I will probably end up doing that later when I could figure out how to all my other stuff that I need to do. But anyways, Gauntlet Dark Legacy was really fun in my eyes. Okay, might not be for yours. It might not be for you. Okay, but growing up and playing a game and having memories and stories of playing these games and stuff is just the greatest game. Like, something that's not that good could be really good to you because you played it growing up and you enjoyed it playing up, and enjoyed it playing growing up, and whatever. But anyways, this game, this game, you had, I'm not sure how many characters, but you had probably a handful of characters. I don't know. I don't know. You probably had like 8 characters and a handful of unlocked characters. This game was the first game I played that actually you had leveling up on characters. You can play the game and your character would level up every so often. Like every 10th level, he would increase or she would increase to the new ranks. Okay, and I believe it was either 20 or 30. You would get a pet flying above your head, and that pet would change sometimes. I remember one of my characters in the game had like a bat, pig, something like I don't. He had like a pig body, but like bat wings, and like some other type of tail or something. Like he was three different creatures, and then I think he turned into something else later on when I got to. Um, by the time I got to like a higher level, like 50 or something, he may have changed into something else. But that was really funny to see, or really cool. But the game, it just had a bunch of stuff that you had to do. Like you can't just play the game and just like play it as quick. Like I bet you can play it as quick as you could. Like you can do a whatever people do nowadays. They just play a game and go really fast through the game. Um, but I can't figure out how you could do that because without actually having a buddy that has played the whole game and has unlocked everything, because the what you could do is say I have a 99 guy that I have played every single level, and that means he has played every single level. Okay, so I guess the only way you could do a speed run is have a friend that played every single level, okay, and know where all the runestones are, okay, and play each runestone, level your character up, okay, then play all the bosses because you have to get all the bosses, you have to get all the runestones, you have to get all the bosses. You then, and you don't have to do it, but if you wanted to play each level or each scene in your own time, you'd have to get the amount of crystals that you need. So if you didn't have a friend that played all or at least a save file that so yeah, you have to play multiplayer, two player, so then you would make it harder on yourself, because two player, or the only way I know how to make the difficulty harder is you have to or the only way to make the difficulty harder is more controllers, more people playing. That's how you do it. But anyways, there's so much that you have to do to complete the game on solo mode. There's so you have to get little crystals. You have to get a certain amount of those to move on to the next round. You then have to get rune stones to move on to the next part of the thing. Then you have to get a certain amount of golden whatever. It could be golden claws. It can be golden feathers. I think there was another golden thing. But you actually have to go and do this stuff. Like it was one of the first games that I played that made you do things in the game. Like nowadays, you necessarily don't have to do certain things. You don't have to gather all the stuff and things to beat the level. Not that you had to gather all the stuff and things. Just in this game, if you wanted to go to the next realm, you had to gather all the crystals. You had to get all the runestones because eventually you're going to have to get all the runestones because then a certain boss part doesn't open up, and it actually makes you go get them because if you miss a runestone or whatever, you have to go to each level and figure out which one it is in. You can just go in and you can, if a runestone thing pops up, then you know it's in that level. If a runestone thing doesn't pop up, then you know it's not in that level and you can just quit. But anyways, lots of memory that I have playing this game. This game was really fun. Lots of characters. A little quick story is so one of my first characters I brought up to 99. Level 99 was the highest level you can get your character as. Never died with that character ever. Actually never died eventually with any character. So never died with him. And then I was like, to get one of my buddies to play the game, I was like, okay, you can be my level 99 uh, yellow. I think it was yellow wizard or yellow something. It was yellow wizard, or whatever, or green. Um, and he was level 99, and and we go to play one of the strongest or one of okay, yeah, it was one of the hardest levels. It was a level where it was the one I have to play next to move on, and and um and and it had all the bad guys um from all the realms. It had every single bad guy in the game, which wasn't, yes, we played a very hard um level at that, but um with the amount of health that that guy had, I believe he had 999 health or 9,000 health, 999 or something like that. I'm not sure if it actually goes up to 9,000. I'm pretty sure it only goes to 999,999. But I never died with that guy, and he actually, and we go play, and he died with my guy. He died with my favorite character. He died with him, and I was just like, "Are you joking me? How can you play this game with my character and die? Like, please, like, keep him alive." You know, that was really funny at the time to see my, or not funny, but to see my character die for the first time. It was like, oh no, he died. You know, you understand, right? I hope you guys understand. But I had a lot of fun playing Gauntlet Dark Legacy for the Nintendo GameCube. Yes, I understand. There was lots of really great games like Banjo Tooie and Kazooie. Those were really fun. Highly would recommend those games. Turok, uh, Turok Dinosaur Hunter on the Nintendo 64. That was a great game. My dad kept on playing that, and we would a thing about this was my dad would play it and we would watch him play it, and dinosaurs would jump out and we would go whoa, and we would get spooked about it, or spooked, and and he had fun playing that until I kept on erasing his file all the time. I clearly, I guess I did it. I don't remember doing it all the time, but I know I did it probably once. But that was fun. Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. Uh, Turok 2 was one of my favorites. I played that one probably more than Turok 1. And then we actually didn't get Turok 3. We actually got the multiplayer version Turok instead of Turok 3. We actually always thought it was Turok 3. And back then we actually called games by what was in the game. So there was a game I still don't know the name of, was we always called it the doggy game, and you guys might know of this game if I can describe it right. Was there was a dog that had rocket boots, or he had rocket feet, and that was really cool, and we called it the doggy game or the ant game because I think the enemies were ants or something. That was a really fun game. I don't know what that one was called. I think it came out around the same time as Banjo Tooie, because, or Banjo Tooie or Banjo Kazooie, because there was an Easter egg of that game in there, or I believe it's an Easter egg. Let's see. Ooh, time shifters or time. Let's see. I wrote it down. Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 2. That one really was a really fun game. We got to make maps in that one for all of us to play, kill each other on. My brother actually did more of that than I did. He figured out how to do it correctly, and he made some pretty fun ones in there too. Bunch of teleporters and stuff that you can work with, and and we played that one. We actually got to play multiplayer on that one a lot more than story mode, because on story mode we got to a certain part in the game and we knew how to beat it. We just couldn't beat it because we kept on getting detected, and the the uh, the map, or the thing we had to do was follow this girl down the tunnel or down the streets and watch out for all the cameras. Otherwise, the chick turns around and she shoots at you, and then there's nothing you can do. Like, there's nothing you can do once she or nothing we could figure out what to do once she's on you and trying to kill you. You just had to restart the mission. As far as I'm concerned with, is and we got the science down of the streets of which when to take out the cameras and where they were, and so we knew the science down, or we got the science down on it, on the streets, and then all we had to do was follow her in a tunnel, and then follow her through the door, and then I think there was a point where you have to follow them to a room and you can't kill them, but the room that they go to is right next to the lasers that they end up turning off, and we couldn't beat it for the longest time. Eventually, we did come back, and we did end up beating it and beating the game, and a really fun game, really cool story mode, and we haven't played the game since because it's a Nintendo GameCube, and we can only play it on the Wii. It's fun. I think the game might be destroyed or something. We might have a hard time playing it. But anyways, there's that game. Desert Storm, if you're familiar with that one, or not familiar with that one was really fun. That one, you had four guys. There was a LT type guy, or he was like a gunner guy. He had like the AR-15 type gun or whatever he had, and that was him. Okay, then there was the sniper. Okay, he had a sniper and a pistol. He was the first guy that normally got the first gun on the map that you could pick up, because his sniper and a pistol not the best. The aiming in the game wasn't the best. Okay, now remember, the game might not be the best game ever, but to us it is, because it has a place in our lives. It was really fun. Not that it was really fun. It was just, we played it and we enjoyed it and we have memories of the game and stuff like that. So the game might not be good. It might not be Call of Duty graphics good, or even controls or whatever, but to us it was fun and we enjoyed it. But you had four characters, okay, the two I already said. Then you had like a heavy machine gun guy and an explosive guy. And a lot of times in this game, they don't give you enough explosives or tanks or bazookas to finish off the tanks or kill off the tanks. A lot of times the tanks take 2 shots, or if you shot them in the rear, they take 1. It depends on what bazooka that you used. But a lot of times in the game we had to suicide mission style crawl up to the tank, and hopefully he doesn't turn and see us, and then we plant like a C4 charge, and we had to do that a lot. That's one of the memories I have a lot of times playing that game, is suicide crawling up with the C4. You give your buddy a clicker and some of the C4, and then you crawl up with 1 C4 and you just crawl, and then you also give him all your health packs so he can heal you faster. And so he's sitting up behind the corner, can't be seen from the tank. You take out the gunner so he can't shoot you, but the gunner's still in the tank. He can, with the big bullet, right? But anyways, that was something that we always had to do in Desert Storm. We also did play Desert Storm 2. I don't know if they made a 3, but we did play Desert Storm 2, but the history lies in Desert Storm. one or whatever. Um, let's see another game. Oh, True Crime Streets of LA. That game was kind of like the game back then of like GTA. Um, it's a lot like GTA. Um, where you run around, you kill whoever you want to kill, run over, drive whoever you want to drive, whatever car you want to drive, and stuff like that. Now, one of the things on this game was you can arrest anyone, anyone in the game. You can arrest anyone. You can just throw them, or you can just arrest them, and they would drop whatever. Sometimes the old granny would drop like a shotgun or some money or some drugs or whatever, and um, so that meant anyone in the game had drugs or a shotgun, a pistol, or whatever. And one of my buddies, he goes to do something to an old granny, and yeah, okay. But the old granny pulled out a shotgun, and he like fights her, and he goes to like push her and stuff, and uh, pulls out a shotgun. And he's like, "Oh!" And the granny starts shooting him, starts killing him. And in this game, there wasn't a multiplayer, but um, we just whenever someone died, we gave up the controller, and then we got a turn to play, and then we would that's how we played multiplayer without having multiplayer, single player multiplayer. Um, but he would, or so back to the story. It was he was fighting this granny, and the granny pulled out a shotgun and started shooting him. And he's like, "Oh!" And he pulled out his dual pistols, and he's like, "Boom, boom, boom, boom!" And he's like, "I always win, I always win." And it was really funny. Um, it was funny to see, funny in the game. Really, really fun game. It is a lot like GTA. As much as you can get to GTA of back then. Um, we actually didn't play GTA Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar created game for a while. I think the first GTA game I got to play was San Andreas. San Andreas, if you're not familiar with that one, it came way before GTA 5 came out. San Andreas is one of my favorites of all the Grand Theft Autos. Okay, um, but I didn't write that on the list for some reason. I definitely will put out a top five, um, a top five uh, of all my old games that I played, of all my favorite games. Top five, top 10. Definitely have to do a top 10 of my old favorite games, and do a top number one game in there as well, obviously. Let's see. Battle tanks, we talked about that. Um, Smuggler's Run, that was fun. If you're not familiar with Smuggler's Run, it doesn't seem fun, but it actually was. And I actually don't even know why we played it. Like, it doesn't really seem fun. You just drove around in a map on a multiplayer. You just drove around on the map with cops on your tail. Sometimes, if you put the cops on or not, and that's all you did. Like, there wasn't really any There was a racing thing. There was a free fall type drive around the map thing, and then there was something else. And then there was also story mode, which story mode was you were a vehicle, whatever vehicle you picked, okay, a truck, car, jeep, whatever you unlocked, and uh, and you would smuggle and you would run, okay. You would you would drive over a package, okay, to collect it, and then you would drop it off in another dark cloud, or you drop it off in a cloud, and that was the game. They did a bunch of different things. They did a team thing where there was 3 teams or 2 teams, and it was just like whoever can collect the most in a certain amount of time. And then how you would lose it was if someone hit you, it would transfer to that vehicle, and then you'd all traced on that vehicle until you would get it into your net. Um, oh, a cool thing, a funny thing about, and this was Xbox One. There was so we were out and we finally got the original Xbox, not Xbox One, but original Xbox. Um, we finally got one, and we didn't actually know it was out for the longest time. And I would always go to an old buddy's of mine to go play Halo. Yes, Halo. And so we would play Halo together. And I was like, Dad, we need to go get this thing. It's called Xbox, whatever. Go find this game. And finally he came home with an Xbox, and we had Xbox. And then the next thing was to go get Halo, and we were going to go get Halo, and we found a game that we thought was Halo, but it wasn't. And so we got another game at the same time that was Halo, but we didn't know it was Halo. And it was really funny and weird that we went to the counter to go buy the two games, and the person goes, she grabs the game, and she goes, "Oh, Halo," and we were like, "What? We got Halo? We didn't know we got the game." And oh man, how dumb we were on naming games, like, or figuring out games back then. The times. Oh man. But anyways, this video is longer, quite longer than I expected it to be. 46 minutes now in the video, and a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Like I said, I'm a little chatty chat box. I talk my you know what off until I figure out that, oh, I need to come to an end in this video. We're getting to then end there soon. There's actually there's like, well, there's a couple minutes left in this video anyways. Just trying to go over everything I wrote down that I need to go over, all the stories. Wasn't really much of a story, it was just explaining a few games and then some stories here and there. But anyways, you kind of got an idea of my games that I used to play, my games I grew up on, some history, some stories. There's a lot more stories. I just have to remember all the stories. Write down some of the games. And next time, I don't know if exactly next time, but next time I do a game list, it's going to be top 10. And the top 10 is going to include, again, only from original Xbox to Nintendo 64. I think I'm only going to go down again. So the same ruling applies, and now the top 10 is only going to be my favorite games of all time, not the best games of all time, but my games of all times. And might throw in some Super Nintendo or not, but and it's going to be a tough list to make, and pick which one of these games that I list off is going to have to be number one, and that's not the easiest to do. So anyways, I'm State Campion, or you could just call me State. We're getting to the end of this video here shortly. And what I would like you to do in the comments down below is tell me your stories. I want to know a little about you. You figured out a little bit about me, of what games in my past I played. So why don't you tell me your stories and stuff like that in the comments down below. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. I hope you have a great day, and I'm going to leave it here. Until next time, guys. Bye!